What's up, Internet? Just doing a little bit of kind of a year-end wrap-up video and talking a little bit about how the channel went this year, future products. I want to talk about some of the people and places that we went to and met, and I want to give you a little bit of a sneak peek about a new project that I hopefully will take off pretty well next year. Something that honestly I think is a little bit better for me as an individual, that hopefully you guys enjoy too. With me is our little rhinoceros or rhino rat snake. We got her this year too, kind of before everything went nuts. And honestly, I do not handle her enough, so and she's big enough because a lot of the other animals that we did get this year produced are still babies, so she can actually be on screen. So just talk a little bit about that. So obviously, this year we just got it started. We released the first videos in January, not on the first, but in January. And it was a little bit of a slow start. It's been kind of a slow build this whole year, but I like to think that there's some people out there that do look forward to some of the content that I do put out, and thank you so much for that. This year was absolutely crazy for everybody. But that being said, there are some silver linings to everything. I'm not going to make light of anything that happened this year for anybody, myself included. I lost some people this year, work, COVID, money, the everything going on politically in this country was insane. But, there were some good to that. The way that this year worked out made it so I could focus a lot of time and energy on not only the animals in general and their welfare and upgrading a bunch of cages and improving their welfare and their husbandry, but a lot of time to dedicate to the channel and social media and starting to build up a business and a reputation is not necessarily like a snake breeder, but as an animal advocate and a good source of animal information and education, hopefully, fingers crossed. So I just want to talk a little bit about some of the people that we did in fact meet and see. Starting off this year, we went and visited Colorado Gators. We've been going there for a number of years, 2 or 3 times a year, because they're really, really great people. They're not necessarily the newest and shiniest facility because they're way down far south in southern Colorado. They're a pretty actual famous place, but, it's not like the newest, cleanest, shiny facility. They're doing the best they can. Almost everything they get is through donations, so they're doing the best of what they can with what they got, and they're really great. I've been there a number of times. Awesome people, great facility. Check it out if you can. Whole lot of history back there, but I'll put, if I can, as many links to all of their places down below, as well as to the playlist of the places that we went and visited this year as well. After that, we made a trip down to Dallas to go check out the NARBC show, which is one of the largest reptile shows in the country. Not the biggest by any means. The Daytona, the Pomona, and the NARBC Tinley show outmatch that. But Texas, the Dallas NARBC show is still a really cool place, especially if you're into colubrids. There's a few more colubrid breeders down there. As well as we went down there and checked that out. We went and checked out Bill Stiegel's place, who does Phoenix Reptiles. We saw his new building that he built is, I honestly can't think of the great way to describe it. It is immaculate, impressive, and just I am so completely jealous of his setup. I wish we all could have a setup like his place. Bill was a really great guy. He was really great for having me just come up and go, "Hey, Bill, I heard you on this other podcast. I'm this weird dude from the internet. Do you want to maybe have me come down and do videos with you?" And he was absolutely on board, very welcoming, very, very informative, and just a nice guy. And big shout out actually to my mom about this. No one else could go with me and play cameraman and backup crew for me to the Dallas trip. My significant other and all my other buddies and helpers were unavailable, so she went with me on that 12-hour drive down to Dallas and played cameraman for me at Bill's place, at the DFW Rotarium, at the Dallas World Zoo, and a couple other places. So big thank you to my mom this year. She really helped out, not only that, but a number of other ways that, she doesn't watch a lot of these videos, but thank you, Madre. Since I brought it up, DFW Reptarium. One of the best, if not the nicest, greatest, well-stocked, knowledgeable staffed reptile pet stores I have seen, period. super knowledgeable staff, super passionate. They gave us like 3 hours of their day while they were renovating a whole area of their thing, while they're working on a separate facility to do other stuff down the road, and they just took time out of the day for us, which is absolutely great. If you guys are ever able to travel or are in the Dallas area, go check them out. They are incredible. And then once we kind of came back home and things started to get a little bit weird, but it was still kind of opened up. I wanted to start the Snakes and Shakes series, which was someone would come in that either had a really interesting animal or worked with something cool or just wanted to learn about reptiles or stuff that we had, and we would enjoy milkshakes and smoothies and stuff, which didn't really get very far because of COVID and everything like that, but we did have some interesting people come over, and that includes Marshall and Crystal. They're super into tarantulas, and they do some other exotics too, but really into the inverts is what they're really passionate about, and they were kind enough to come out on 2 separate occasions, both for Snakes and Shakes as well as for the Reptile Spooktacular series that we did for all of October. Really thank you for you guys. Thank you for coming out, sharing your knowledge and passion about them, because honestly, I don't know that much about them, so I got to learn some stuff too. Hopefully you guys can check those videos out and learn from them as well. After that, obviously there weren't a whole lot of people coming through here, so there were some times we were able to work with other people to do kind of like private, showing off of their facilities, and the first one of which was Wildfire Retics. They were in Castle Rock here in Colorado. They moved out to Park City, Utah early this year, and their new place has so much potential, and it is the perfect place for them, for the Retics, for what they do, and I know that they are very quickly starting to fill that room up, even though I think they kind of wanted to keep it to where they're at, but I think they're going to end up utilizing a lot of that space. Big thanks to them. We made plans to do stuff kind of earlier in the year, and it fell apart between COVID and the move, and then just kind of last minute they had kind of like a day for us to come out and check it out, so we just quickly last minute drove overnight to Park City, Utah, and they got to show us around, and we got to see some amazing reptiles and some people doing some really great stuff with their animals. Check out Wildfire. If you guys follow me, you probably have seen their stuff, if not already following them. Great dudes, great company. Check out Wildfire Retics. And then, in addition to, the Reptile Spooktacular, we also had a couple people in there that both did a segment for that as well as for other videos themselves. Oh, I'm really sorry. One of those is Mission Wolf. They are an educational center down in southern Colorado and West Cliff, Colorado. They were really great to open up and let us go there because, COVID and everything like that. And even though we couldn't play with the wolves themselves, super friendly, super knowledgeable staff. We were there all day long, got to hear some amazing stories of wolves from all over the place about how they got started, and they just do an absolutely amazing job of spreading education and their passion for these great animals. So, did the spectacular as well as just kind of an actual segment about their place. Check those videos out. Go check them out too. They're absolutely amazing, wonderful people. In addition to that, we also did something with Nature's Educators. They are a wildlife education company that is here in Colorado, mostly based in southern Colorado, but they have members, affiliates, and volunteers kind of all over the state. They actually do some bird shows at the place where I work at normally, once again, before all this. And they did a video with us about the African pied crow and a great horned owl, as well as hopefully some potential stuff down the road for some future videos, which I am super excited about. Not necessarily reptile related, but you could make the argument that birds are reptiles, but I'm not going to get into that. As well as there was an absolute amazing friend of ours, Cassandra. She used to work at the Denver Zoo. Now she is working on her doctorate degree at Newcastle in Australia. and she went into a flying fox reserve and wildlife sanctuary to talk about them, as well as, and it's just going to lead into what I'm talking about now, as well as do kind of a long podcast afterwards that I'll be releasing later this year, or later next year, because this is, I think this is the 29th when this is going to come out, so year end. So with that being said, next year, really excited, hopefully this does well, we are going to start a podcast. I know there's a few reptile podcasts out there. They all are really good. They all put out some really good information. As you know, especially some of my earlier videos, kind of hard to listen to me talk to. I do ramble a lot, and you clearly know that I can. So a podcast, I think, would be probably better suited for me. It not only gives you guys a chance to have kind of a larger update to hear from what's going on with us, because a lot of weird stuff happens kind of all the time. You can, I can get into a little bit more detail about kind of, the day-to-day things that happen, updates on breeding, updates on animals, how they're doing, if they get sick, if there's good things going on with them. You get to hear just kind of a better update from me, as well as I'm going to do my utmost to start bringing in guests. I already have a few lined up. I'm recording one later today, in fact. And I'm not going to reveal who that is, but we do have some pretty big names out there, both in the hobby, both doing stuff in, zoological stuff and conservation, things like that. Hopefully I can get some local talent and flavor to come in too. I know Colorado's kind of weird, and rightly so, about the kind of reptile scene right now, but maybe I can get some people that are okay and comfortable talking about that, and we can hear from some other really cool Colorado keepers, breeders, and just people who are passionate about it. So that being said, hopefully, you guys had an okay year, at least did the best of what you can, best of what you could, I guess, is the best to say. We all had struggles, we all had loss, we all had a hard time with stuff. I don't know if these videos gave you a little bit of break from that, or gave you something to think about, or distract you a little bit to, maybe you decided you wanted to get a reptile pet, and this was a launching pad to go check out other people's stuff and to get you invested. That'd be absolutely amazing. I would love for that to happen. As well as next year, I also would like to start maybe doing some Zoom or online, or hey, maybe even, if we get a reprieve come the end of summer or something, I can start doing some educational, actual shows and programs for people as well. I completely spaced the name. So the name of the podcast is going to be Keep Calm, It's Just a Snake Podcast, because that's the best I could come up with, because clearly I'm original, as you probably know by Jay-Z's Reptiles. But, there's a few out there. Hopefully this one's entertaining for you guys. It'll be a little bit better suited for me to do so. Just in the end, hopefully you guys enjoyed this channel. Thank you so much for viewing it. Thank you so much for the people that supported me through this and helped me out through this year. My significant other, my friends, my mom, a few Patreons, and all of you viewers. For all of the people that watch the videos. Thank you so much. Constructive criticism and everything like that. I know it was really hard for me for a while, and still gets that way sometimes when, the numbers just aren't really there right now, as well as, for every 30, 40 likes, there's a dislike. Not usually negative comments. There's a couple out there, but, it's hard for me to not really focus on that, but, people out there have really helped me get through that, specifically my significant other. She helps me get through that, as well as big push to start the social media stuff. She's the cameraman 90% of the time, does almost all of the video editing, helps with the social media, networking, and everything like that. So big thank you to all of you, to the people that, helped us out, let us go check out their places, talk to us, and hopefully you guys can enjoy some future content coming from Jay-Z's Reptiles, including the podcast. This year was a drag for a lot of us for a lot of reasons. Some good, mostly bad, but hopefully next year, we can find a way to, move on, do better with whatever it is that we're doing. Hopefully these videos gave you something to, I don't know if it distracted you, gave you something to think about, was another source of information for something that you already enjoy, gave you something to think about that you didn't know about yet. Either way, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys had the best year that you possibly could. You know, we did the best that we could here. Hopefully, you guys had the same, could do the same. And the next year, you know, whatever comes our way, we'll get through it. And hopefully, you know, reptile community and not, that we get through it together. So thank you so much again. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you next year.